Welcome. In this presentation, I'm asking the question, and I'm answering it. Is the Therapeutic Products Legislation a Trojan horse for genetic engineering? That's the question. Now let's dive in. Like so many Kiwis, I have a dream. I dream of New Zealand being the GE-free organic market garden of the world, supplying high value, high quality produce to the rest of the world. One of the fears of the Therapeutic Products Legislation is that it is a Trojan horse that allows the widespread and rapid introduction of genetic engineering, including mRNA drugs, for plant, animal, and human use. If this is the case, as it certainly appears to be, then Kiwis can kiss their dreams of a GE-free New Zealand goodbye, and we will forever be locked into the commodities industries, competing against the biggest food producers, selling things like milk powder at the lowest possible price. In addition, the experience with the COVID mRNA is that this technology is far from healthy and definitely far from safe. Yet, this legislation threatens to open the floodgates for the fast tracking of hundreds of mRNA drugs into New Zealand. I'll explain. Under normal circumstances, a new drug may take as long as 10 years of research, including safety trials, at a cost of $1 billion, and the majority may never make it to market because they clearly do more harm than good. For longer than 20 years, mRNA drugs never made it to market. It took a lab-engineered pandemic to enable this drug to leapfrog all its previous unsurmountable hurdles. The way I understand it, the Therapeutic Products Regulator may consider granting early availability of a new drug if benefits appear to outweigh incomplete data risks, thus bypassing essential safety measures. Our responsibility lies in striking a balance between progress and caution. This legislation throws caution to the wolves, all for the benefit of making even more billions of dollars for a handful of greedy people. The gold rush has begun. It's begun with the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of humanity, and it's taking place right now. And I fear we, the people, are by far the biggest losers. We already are. Pfizer alone made over $39 billion from its COVID mRNA vaccine. Commercial companies, by their nature, are obliged to grow annually and give increasing returns to its shareholders. So, how do they continue to grow the market now the COVID pandemic is sort of over? Well, I ask you this. Where and how, among other places, are they spending their billions that they made from the COVID pandemic right now to grow their market? Well, here's a few ways that they are using their money to prepare for even more growth. For a start, they're ramping up the fear of another pandemic. There's hardly a day that goes by that there isn't some fear-mongering news item on mainstream media, getting us all fearful that there is going to be some great pandemic that is going to destroy us all. They're highlighting at the same time the marvels of genetic engineering while completely ignoring any downsides of this technology, which is basically playing God. And no man should ever play God, or woman for that matter. They are lobbying politicians and influencers to introduce new laws that open new markets while suppressing dissent. and that includes things like hate laws. They're buying up supplement companies with their billions of dollars, and they are capturing all things natural. That's one of the purposes of the Therapeutic Products Bill legislation. So, National and possibly with ACT is going to be the next government here in New Zealand, or so it seems. And will they save us from this genetic engineering, crazy, insane gold rush? Well, National and ACT are not going to save us. Actually, they are keen to sell us all down the genetic engineering pathways. So I wonder who's been lobbying them lately. I wonder about where's those campaign funding donations coming from, all of them. Okay, here's what they say in their releases. A national government will end New Zealand's ban on gene editing and genetic modification to unlock enormous benefits for climate change, agriculture, and science, health science. Notice how they slip in climate change. Oh, sorry, it's not climate change anymore. It's not global warming. It's global boiling. Hey, got to keep that fear coming. And so notice that subtle bit of slipping it in. Genetic engineering is going to save us all from global boiling. They continue. New Zealand can be a world leader in reducing agricultural emissions and benefit from other innovations in health, nutrition, and the environment with gene technology rules that are fit for purpose. Their purpose, not yours. And they continue on. This is ACT National. But liberalizing our GE laws would lower emissions while increasing food production and could tackle various environmental, conservation, and health issues. My God, genetic engineering is just amazing. And notice it's completely safe and completely effective. Yeah, right. And the universities are getting in on the gold rush. Of course they are. Here's what Auckland University has to say. Funding of 40.7 million over 4 years will support scientists who are looking to leverage exciting new mRNA technology and its potential for new medical therapies. Oh, it's going to make us all healthy, is it? Pull the other one. And they continue on. RNA technology offers an opportunity to develop applications in animal health, agriculture, and aquaculture. Bring on the Frankenfish. All right, hey? Every animal will be vaccinated and certified as such, and if it ain't, the farmers will be fined. They'll be locked into spending money on every single animal they raise, and you and I will all pay extra for it. They continue. This investment is especially important to build our ability domestically to respond to future pandemics should we need to. And sure as hell, they are working on the next lab-based pandemic. Of course they are. Victoria University here in Wellington says, Victoria University of Wellington and the University of Auckland, with initial funding of $500,000 to develop a 7-year plan for the platform under the co-host arrangement. Their proposal intends to bring people, facilities, information, and knowledge together to focus on various RNA research and innovation projects. Once the plan is approved, a further investment of 69.5 million over 7 years will fund research and innovation within the RNA development platform. I bet they had an army of wordsmith consultant policy analysts to write those 2 paragraphs. Probably took up an entire high-rise building here in Wellington. And the University of Otago is well in on the gold rush. Here's what they say. Amarok Therapeutics, a new biotech startup spun out of the University of Otago with one of the world's most advanced programs in next-generation RNA therapy to target cancer, has secured $14 million in investment to accelerate development. Yes, since 1972, when President Nixon declared war on cancer to develop the cure. Trillions of dollars, and decades later, we're still looking for the cure, but don't worry. Otago University has got it. The cure for cancer. It just takes another 14 million. And let's see them pump it into us. And of course, it will cure our cancer once and for all. And our government is making sure it is not being left out. They say, a $7.7 million science and research lab was opened on Wednesday. Its tenants, scientists contributing to the growing field of mRNA vaccine research. Yes, that's in Seaview, just near Petone. Okay. Now, let's just consider this. When are we, the people, you and me, going to be consulted about this stuff? Do we want this stuff? Do we want to spend our money on this? Do we want to permanently undermine any possibility of New Zealand being GE-free? And is it safe? Is it effective? Are we going to not just harm this current generation, but generations to come? You know, you damage genes, it doesn't stop with you. It's passed on to your offspring and your offspring's offspring. Righto? This is serious stuff, and we've got to get it right. And right now, we are not being included. We're being excluded from the conversation. Now, did you know that there is an mRNA factory in Timaru? It's all set to begin production of millions of gene-modifying drugs. This is what they say. It is just the start of the RNA nanomedicine pipeline. We envisage for New Zealand to translate mRNA and RNA research and development into homegrown vaccines and therapeutics. COVID-19 vaccines are just the tip of the iceberg for what this technology offers, with enormous potential for therapeutic development, not just for human medicine, but also across the primary sector. Yep, not just for humans, but for plants and animals. They are going to use this stuff everywhere. They are playing God, and nobody should ever be playing God, especially those that have a commercial motive. For starting up this mRNA factory, all they need to start production of these intergenerational poisons is for the Therapeutic Products Regulator to be appointed and start fast-tracking approval of these scores of mRNA drugs that are in development right now, and which are intended to be foisted upon you and me, and on our farmers, and without any consultation. Yep, They talk about a pipeline, and guess where that pipeline is going to be pouring its poisons? Down your throats and the throats of your children. That's what they're going to be doing. So how do they get it past the safety checks? How do they get it past those poor laboratory animals that they tested these things on and keep getting sick and dying? Yep. Well, who cares? They don't care. What they care about is profits. That's all. Okay, profits and power. They don't care a damn about you and your family. All they care about is money and power. Okay? So their solution, the appointment of the Therapeutic Products Regulator, is it's well underway, and it's happening next year. And the only chance we've got is by changing the government. Okay, we have to change the government. Okay, other than making a few cosmetic changes with that therapeutic products legislation, they've got it through. They railroaded it through. They ignored you and me. They ignored the overwhelming public opposition to this legislation. And the reason why is because of this massive investment that I've just outlined for you. This massive investment in mRNA technology. Pandemic over or not, it's not stopping. This is only the beginning. The pandemic, the COVID pandemic, was just the dress rehearsal. It was just to soften you all up, okay, for what's really going to come. So these people are playing God, and what is going on here is dangerous for the DNA of every plant and creature, including you and your children. And it ends any hope of New Zealand ever being GE free, being the market garden of the world, selling high value produce instead of cheap chemical soaked commodities. Instead, yes, it locks us into big chemical, big pharma, big agriculture, and has us forever competing, selling low value, low nutritional content commodities such as milk powder. It opens the way for hundreds of gene therapy drugs, vaccines, fast-tracked without adequate testing. Talk about having a God complex. These people are dangerous. It's a gold rush for a few greedy and unprincipled people and corporations, and you, your family, and your country, you are going to be the losers. We already are the losers. And to get their foolish plans in place, they must get rid of and disempower all opposition, including the natural health industry. And that's what they're doing. And they're doing it with things like hate speech as well, which is coming in. We won't even be allowed to talk about it. I'll ask you again, were you consulted about any of this? This is all backdoor stuff that they're doing. It's anti-democratic. It's a Trojan horse. So what's the solution? We've got to get New Zealand First and Winston Peters into power. Okay, we need to back them to the hilt because they will throw out this legislation, but they can only do it if they have the numbers. They need the support at this upcoming election. So they have the numbers not only to decide the kingmaker, but to have the numbers to be able to roll back this abominable legislation and to work towards New Zealand being the wonderful, clean, green, genetically modified free country that it once was and what it should be. So, with National being likely to be the next government, we need to get New Zealand First in to be the kingmaker. They are us and they are our friends. We are joining New Zealand First. We are part of New Zealand First. They are us and we are them. Okay, so join New Zealand First now. Join it today. Get involved in the party at the party level, even if it is just to attend their branch meetings or to help out with making a cup of tea. Donate to them if you can and encourage everyone you know to join. It's a numbers game. Then, when the election comes, cast your party vote for New Zealand First. It's that simple. Let's go for the win. We can do it. Let's take back our country. We will win because we occupy the moral high ground. So, thank you very much for tuning in and watching this important presentation. Thank you, and thank you again. Now, let's take back this country, once known as God's own. Please go out and act right now. Thank you very much, and goodbye.